It's Pokemon. Wait. I can already taste the angry clickety-clacks on keyboards right now because I said that Temtem is Pokemon. Well, let me be more specific. It's an unashamed Pokemon clone, and that's not really a bad thing. Pokemon needs some good competition.
I really enjoy the collect and battle type of genre. I love Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Magic the Gathering, Skylanders, and Digimon. I didn't care that much for Disney Infinity, and LEGO Dimensions was just too expensive, and I never played Monster Rancher even though I really wanted to. Temtem was funded on Kickstarter and released on Steam and Humble Bundle on January 21st in early access. I found out about this game through a Discord server that I'm on and bought it on a release shortly after release. However, I was not aware that this was an early access game at all until after I bought and installed it. I wasn't too happy that Humble Bundle, who I bought it through, and who is also the publisher, was not very clear, as they tend to hide details under the Add to Cart button in small font, while Steam will show that above the Add to Cart button in very large font. The art style is okay, it looks better in the 2D drawings and that 2D animated trailer used to promote it, but in 3D it looks like it's entering that uncanny valley type of territory, especially with some of the not Pokemon that have human-like faces. The music is okay, and I swear there's one track that sounds like it's a cover of one of the traveling songs from the Generation 1 Pokemon games. I want to say it's that Welcome to the Pokemon World song, I'm not 100% sure. The gameplay is nearly identical to Pokemon with a few differences. First, you have types that are weak and strong against each other, which that's a staple in games like this. Instead of one-on-one Pokemon battles, it's almost always double battles. You come up against a trainer, it's almost always two Pokénots. Encounter Nademons in the wild, it's almost always two of them. But unlike Pokemon, where if two of them appear at once, you don't have to knock out one of them first, so it allows you to catch them both. It seems to be a very rare occasion where only one will appear in the wild, or where a trainer only has one. Temtem are kept in cards instead of balls. When you capture one, it does its own version of the 3 ball shakes, but instead it's just 3 pulses. But one thing that is different, and I'm going to highly praise here because I actually like it as it implores strategy, is the stamina system. In Pokemon, you have power points, which is how many times you can use a move. In Temtem, you have stamina. Each move has a stamina requirement. Use a move and it drains stamina, and on your next turn it refills but just a bit, but not all the way. If you use a move but don't have the required stamina, the Temtem will use it but will take damage due to overexertion, and it won't be able to use anything the next turn and will automatically go into rest. You can also have the Temtem wait a turn so this way they could rebuild stamina on their own. I really like this idea. It's really good, as instead of Pokemons just use these moves with no repercussion, there's a drawback in Temtem. Do you go in for the kill, or do you gamble and hope that your Temtem won't get knocked out by using a weaker move or by waiting a turn to rebuild stamina? Another neat idea is that some attacks can only be used after a certain number of turns the Temtem has been in battle. It's an interesting idea, but it kind of makes you ask, why would you want to implement this? I can't really see a need for it, as the moves that make you wait aren't that overpowered. It's sort of like the 2-turn moves in Pokemon, where the Pokemon has to recharge after an attack, but this is in reverse, as those moves in Pokemon were balanced out with either low accuracy, needing a turn to recharge, or the user taking damage, or some sort of negative effect to balance it out. This game is also pretty unforgiving in the beginning. Money is rewarded in pitiful amounts. It's not enough to buy healing items either, and Temtem centers are far and few between, and there's way too many trainers that want to battle you, and there's no avoiding the majority of them as they are all at choke points. There's a few that move that can be avoided easily, but there's very few of those, and some of them have Temtem with crazy high levels. Some of them I swear could be bosses or elite encounters. I found myself traveling to and from the Temtem centers as I traveled, because of all the mandatory battling the game requires you to do. It took me 4.5 hours. 4.5 hours. I repeat, 4.5 hours. 4 hours, 30 minutes just to be able to battle the first dojo leader. All these mandatory trainers feel like it's just padding to extend the game's length, but all it does is just drain the player of their resources and then makes them use up time to essentially brute force their way through the game. Especially in my case, because I can't get the Temtem to form a team, as finding Temtem in the wild is so far and few between. It's all random encounters, but it needs rebalancing. I've only caught 5 Temtem in the time that I played it, and I only ever found the same 5 in the wild. And I've seen Temtem used by other trainers that are not yet available to catch. I actually looked on the official Temtem wiki, and there are trainers that have Temtem that are labeled not yet released. Why? This game needs some serious rebalancing if it wants to compete with the likes of Pokemon. As in most Pokemon games, you can get to the first gym in about 45 minutes. If you look at the chart for the type matchups, 26 times will do super effective damage, 28 times will not be very effective, and 90 times is just normal damage. I've gone up against Temtem that were the same level, using attacks where there was no type advantage and doing very little damage, while opponents were doing massive amounts of damage. Like Pokemon, there's different types, currently at a total of 12. And like I said, some are not available to catch, and this game does not stop NPCs from using them. And the most common types are Toxic, Fire, and Crystal. And I looked up a lot of the stuff on the official Temtem wiki because I had no idea what type matchups were there. But upon looking at what dojo leaders there are, it seems that Toxic and Electric will be the ones that mostly carry you through the game. However, the dojos don't seem to have a consistent theme to them at all, like how Pokemon gyms work. You may go to the first dojo and think, oh, it's a water theme. No, it's not. The leader uses wind, water, and has one electric type. Also, it's an electric type that for some reason is not available until later in the game, or not available at all. I can't remember which one. While this is all about strategy for battles, because I've hardly come into contact with any wild Temtem to catch to formulate proper strategies, and because of this need for strategy and the added complexity to the battle, I can see this being geared towards older Pokemon fans who want more to their monster catching and battling experience, which may or may not alienate the younger audiences due to the added complexity of battling, and by younger audiences I mean Pokemon's targeted demographic. And being an MMO, you cannot communicate with other players at all. This may be a feature that they're going to add, but it seems like the only thing you can do is challenge them to Temtem battles, and that's about it. Or you can see what they've accomplished. Again, this is an early access title, but the ability to communicate with other players is kind of a pretty basic feature that is in MMOs and may be needed. Saying that this game is a diamond in the rough is being generous. It's still a piece of coal that is under a lot of heat and pressure.
Due to the random number generation of how Temtem appear, my experience was not a fun one. Not bad, just not fun. There's a very, very solid foundation here for a good game. But right now, as it stands, there's definitely going to be a revisit of this game. I can guarantee you that. I am going to revisit this. I'm just going to do it when the game is fully and completely released and not in early access.